All right, guys. Cheers.
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 All right, so we have my buddy Kyle here. Kyle Stafford, who we deployed with back in 2010.
Jesus Christ.
2010.
So long ago. It's so weird to think about, like, because I still don't think I do a lot of stuff in the Army right. And I still consider myself, like, always learning. Mm-hmm. But, like, I'm one of the old guys now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I have
Definitely
soldiers
one
that
of the
were
old guys.
born after 9/11.
Yep.
Which, like, I was 21 when we were there. I'm 33 now. Like, I don't feel old. Like, my body hurts all the time, but that's, I guess it comes with the occupation.
You don't feel like the old guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when you joined, you're like, oh, those guys are old.
Yeah.
Now you're like, oh,
I'm
shit.
33. Like, my E6 when we were in Afghanistan was like 47.
It's weird because, like, we know we're getting older.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like, I'll be turning 36 this year.
Yep.
But in my mind, I'm turning 26.
Yeah. It's like I'm going to, like, shows right now of bands. They're like, it's the 20-year anniversary of this album. And I was like, I remember going to the store and buying that CD.
Yeah.
Like, that's something you don't even do anymore. Like, I bought an album the other day, like, in vinyl at a show, and in it came with a CD, and I was like, I guess I'll just put this in my CD player in the car and just leave it there. And I was like, do I have anything in here? Nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like, like you said, like, we don't feel old, but, like, people look at us like, oh, this dude's been in the Army forever.
You know when you go to like you do like medical SRPs at all?
Oh, yeah.
And you used
You
to
see
be
the
like
folders?
you used to show up like and you see like the old dude whatever and he's got like that stack
He's got the
of like things and you're like got like a thin paper. Now you're walking in with this giant stack and you're
And
like
he's got the fast pass on because he had to fast the night before to do his cholesterol the first thing.
So I don't know much about you at all because
Yeah.
we deployed, and even though we deployed together, we were living in a really tiny COP. This COP was so small, there was only enough room for 2 platoons.
Yep.
And you were our commo guy?
Yeah, I was the communications rep while we were there. So we also had an Air Force guy that handled the networking side of it, all the computers and stuff. Fung, and then later on it was Dela Cruz. Fung was a little Asian kid that called Short Round.
Shit. No, I remember him. I don't remember De La Cruz.
Dela Cruz showed up after you got hit. He was an interesting character. Like, you know how it was very relaxed there and, like, grooming standards didn't exist and you could kind of wear whatever you wanted?
Yeah.
He had, like, Daisy Duke shorts that he would walk around in, like, cut off jeans, like, way too high before it became, like, the style to have, like, high cut shorts.
Was he trying to be the funny guy?
I think he might have been a homosexual.
Oh,
Not
okay.
sure.
It's just
It was a long time ago, and he was only there for a few months with us, but Fung was a good kid. He used to do Tai Chi on the roof of the talk during the day. I remember him
That
and
was an Asian
Holloway.
stereotype.
Him and Holloway got into it at the MWR one night.
Oh, man.
He had been born in China, had a thick Chinese accent,
Oh, did he? Okay.
and, like, he was taking too long with computers. Like, you know, you had your 30-minute window on the computer, and if there's
Yeah.
people waiting, you had to get back in line. Holloway was waiting, and this kid was on there for like an hour and a half. And Holloway's like, yo, speed it up, man. Like, what the fuck? And this kid was like, you disrespect me while I talk to my family. He's like, if this was China, you'd be dead. And Holloway looks at him, he's like, if this was prison, you'd be my bitch. And I was just like, this motherfucker.
Holloway was my battle buddy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we were the same fire team.
But yeah, like, Najil was small, and, like, I was so new to the Army, and I was so timid because, like, I wasn't an infantry guy. You guys were all these hard-charging infantry dudes. A lot of you guys had been, like, Pack and Welch and all these other guys deployed multiple times, and I'm like, I remember my first night there, like, a mission was rolling out, like, late at night, and I couldn't remember how to work an ANCD to load crypto into these radios.
Oh, no.
And, like, I finally figured it out, but, like, I went back to my room and I cried. Yeah. And I was like, I am going to get somebody fucking killed.
Yeah, that's tough.
I was like, I need to learn my job.
Yeah, that's a quick way to learn it there.
And you were the only
because they
commo
don't. Yeah, but they also don't teach you shit. Because I went to commo school.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
right.
like,
Yeah.
So like, and I went
They teach
there.
you on outdated equipment.
Yeah. And
Like-
you like learn how to load like Windows 95.
Yeah.
Like, and then like
Program a switch and router, but they give you the
stupid
entire script, so you're just like,
yeah. And they don't even teach you like the radio. Like, okay, they do like one thing on each radio, but like
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, hey, load the fill in this one, do this, do this, do this.
and like
It's like you just figure it out.
the instructors aren't like they weren't military guys, or they were at one point.
Yeah,
they were
some were
civilians.
civilians, yeah.
but like they don't teach you like lessons learned. Like, hey, this is what I did when this would happen. Like they don't give you any of that. It's like you have to figure it out on your own.
You didn't have an NCO to ask for help when we deployed, huh?
No, I mean like I could call down to Metterlom and talk to my guys down there, but like
Yeah.
they're not gonna be able to like walk me through anything.
Shit.
That was the
So,
Air
like,
Force dude. Was he all right? Like,
Yeah, he was
that-
fine. He was
the
younger.
radios
He was
and
younger
stuff,
than
though?
me.
Because like when I was there,
he was just computers.
oh,
So
okay.
he handled making sure the network worked, and I made sure that our communications platform on the base and off base worked.
Yeah, because we had an Air Force guy, and he was really helpful with everything.
Yeah,
Like, he
this
did
this kid didn't know anything about radios, but like I didn't. I had really no one to report to at Najil. Like I talked to, like my NCO, I guess, was Sergeant Fuller, who was the TOC NCO, but then after that it was First Sergeant LeBeau and Castellucci.
That's stressful.
Which Castellucci was cool. Like
Yeah, no, they're
LeBeau
cool.
was cool.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I've never,
they called me Kylie.
when I was talking to Amanda about doing the podcast with you, I was like, I never stopped to think about your perspective. Because, like, you know, we all have platoons and got teammates and shit like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
he's a squad leader. Like, you didn't have anyone.
And like the part that I was always jealous of was like you guys had your B huts and you guys all lived together.
Yeah.
And like did things together at night. Like I had my own room / office. So like I just hung out by myself at night. Like I didn't go up to the other B huts and hang out with you guys. Like if I saw you guys at the MWR, it was one thing, or like hanging outside my stoop smoking cigarettes. But yeah, most of the time I was in my room by myself.
That
like
sucks,
Yeah,
man.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because
And then
you, like,
getting
you
woke-
need that like,
yeah.
decompression. Like, 'cause, like, it's fucking stressful. You know what I mean? Like having that like one thing. Like I remember like we watched, I don't know, stupid. I think we watched all the fucking like some stupid fucking series. I forget what the hell it was, but like it was like a thing we do at night. Like watch
Yeah.
like Grey's Anatomy or
Yeah.
like something stupid.
Something-
Hanging out with some
fucking-
friends.
you know, and like they put that on and you'd be like decompressed, then ready for the mission tomorrow. But
And like as time went on being there, like they incorporated me to the best of their ability. Like I started hanging out with like Fry and Scott, Breffert, Petrosky, like hung out with all those guys.
Oh, cool.
But like I was also, they were all like, except for like Scott and Fry, like everybody else was like NCOs, and like I was this little private, like nobody wanted to hang out with me. Like and I wasn't an infantry guy, so it's like some of them, like a lot of the IRR guys like looked down on me because they were like,
Did they?
I don't know if they looked down on me, but they were like, not an infantry guy, not as important as everybody else. And I'm like,
Yeah, I can see that.
I get it.
yeah, that's the infantry
Like-
mindset.
That's what the military mindset, like the whole job of every other person in the military is to support the infantry. It's pilots fly you places. I make sure your radios work. Medics keep you put together. Like everyone is there to support the infantry.
Yeah.
And I love the I love being a part of the infantry. I'm not infantry. I debated reclassing after the deployment, but I never did it. But I love being in that environment. I had to reclass to 92 Alpha a few years back, and I got sent to an aviation maintenance unit, and I was going insane. Hated that unit.
Yeah.
It was terrible. The leadership there was garbage. Like I had friends that were higher up than me, which they were cool to like hang out with and stuff, but like from like the command down, like they run it like a business. Like it's a TASM, so it's like I think like 15 other states send their helicopters there to like get worked on, and we make money off of it. Like they pay Connecticut to do that. So it was like I just hated being in that unit. Like stopped caring about going to drill. Like I would go to drill, do nothing while I was there. Didn't work out. Didn't even try to pass PT tests. Finally, my job, like my civilian job, it switched over to civilian employee. So I didn't have to wear my uniform anymore. So I didn't have to have MOS compatibility. So immediately I put in a transfer request to revert back to my commo MOS and go back to the infantry.
Yeah.
And like people are like, you might be the only person we've ever heard of that's requesting to go back to the infantry. I was like,
You don't thrive in that environment. Whereas
Exactly.
like people are waiting to go fucking to Starbucks.
Yeah, but I mean,
Exactly.
like even when I was over at the 143rd, like our commo, I think we have a 5 and a 4 like position, and like we can never fill them because like nobody wants to go to the infantry if you've never even been a part of it.
Yeah.
you know, like especially being a commo dude, like, and you're just like working at an aviation unit or something like that, and everybody's like, "No, I don't want to do that." Like, what are you doing?
yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, like whenever drill weekend comes up, like that whole week I have pre-drill depression, and I'm like, I don't want to go sleep in the woods again. But like, I would much rather be doing that than sitting at that armory with a empty manila folder walking around the hangar looking like I'm going to do something just so nobody bothers me.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Najil, like I was scared shitless those first couple weeks, and then the first attack happened while I was there, and I was on the phone with my girlfriend at the time talking to her, and all of a sudden I just hear IDF start going off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. I was like, oh shit. I was like, where do I go? What do I
I
do?
always love that. It's like
So-
you're just chilling. It's like, is that incoming or outgoing? It's like,
And like, so like, I'm like, babe, I gotta go. I love you. Bye. And she's like, what? What's going on? I was like, nothing. Bye. I'll call you later. Like, hung up. And I'm like running back to my room in the dark. Didn't have a headlamp yet. Like, it was in the mail. My parents were sending me it. So I'm running in the dark, hoping I don't fall because I'm wearing flip flops like an asshole.
dark as fuck.
Pitch black.
Yeah.
And like I run by Sergeant Severin's room, and he's outside ripping a cig. Remember Sergeant Severn? This
Yeah, I
spy
just
sergeant?
remember now.
He's like, hey, dog, where you going?
Yeah, you like call me something dog. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call you that.
Yeah. He's like, I'm Sev
Chill.
Dog.
Yeah, Sev dog. He was chill.
But I'm running, and he's like, where you going, dog? And I'm like, to my room, to my body armor. Like, we're getting attacked. And he's like, no, that's just a red shoot. That's us shooting that, just registering the guns. I'm like, okay. So like I stopped running. I'm like, I'll go back to the MWR in a little bit. I'm gonna go to my room.
Yeah.
And I'm walking next to the talk, and all of a sudden,
Oh shit.
rounds start ticking off the concrete. The door rips open to the talk. Castellucci grabs me and pulls me inside. He's like, where you going? I was like, to my room. Like, he's like, we're taking shots right now. And I'm like, yeah, clearly I just saw him. And he's like, why were you walking? He's like, because I just ran by Sergeant Severin. He said that was outgoing registration shoot. He's like, no. He's like, go to your room, get your body armor, get back here, get on the roof. And he's like,
kill someone.
he's like, make sure the radios are working. I was like, got it. So
That's embarrassing. Sorry.
so like, yeah.
Sucks.
And I'm like, great.
Castellucci was our commander.
So I'm like, non-infantry guy, first tick. I look like an asshole.
It sucks. Yeah.
So I go grab my kit, my weapon, run up to the roof, and like that was the first time I fired my
Was there
weapon.
BP at the roof?
Yeah,
Was there like
There's
cover?
sandbags and stuff,
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't remember that. All right.
it's where Bittner blew out my eardrum later on that year.
Oh, the 50 cal.
Oh yeah, he was about like if we were next to each other, we were about this far apart.
Bittner was a platoon sergeant.
It was close enough that the gas blast out of the barrel made my hair move, and I was like, cool. And I didn't have any ear pro in.
You did the
I
same
like
to you.
Nope, it just fired. Like I was on my gun, like eye closed, like scanning, and all of a sudden, like just the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I touched my ear later on after the base defense got stood down, and I was like, oh, that's blood. Awesome. So I went and saw like Doc Mosier. He's like, yeah, you got a perfed eardrum there. He's like, just be careful.
Is it all right now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay.
That's the one I get tinnitus in real bad.
Oh, I'd be freaking out. Fucking blood. That's not a good sign.
It's happened once before since then, once since then
Okay.
from a car accident. The airbag did it.
You're just like prone to fucking accidents, huh?
Oh, I really am. Like I've broken like 27 bones.
Oh, jeez.
Fractured my skull, broke both arms, both feet twice. Everything. Dislocated my shoulders, separated my shoulders.
The fuck?
Sports.
Yeah, somebody's got.
When you have little to no care about your body and you play contact sports, you can do well in those contact sports.
Yeah.
And then I also like skateboarded and rode bikes as a kid, so I was falling. And then
That's crazy.
I drink a bit, so I'd fall down too. So I broke my foot the last time.
Jesus Christ, man. So what was your normal day to day like? You know what I mean? Trying to
So
see if we were-
I had a pretty much standing guard shift from like 10 a.m. to like 1400 every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that makes sense.
yeah.
You know, if you're not gonna be
and like it was
constantly doing shit.
very easy. They would backfill me if I had to go run off to go up to the Death Star to check a radio or check the retrans up there. Or run up to what was the other tower we had? We had Punisher Tower and then Butcher Tower that we built.
Yep. Death Star too.
Yeah, good old Death Star.
Death Star was like at the highest peak. We had this fucking building where we had just
We had a high ground OP.
Hi, this is Greg Ulan from Afghan News.
My favorite was
It's funny knowing the names because I've been there.
Oh,
Like,
that's
yeah.
right. Shit, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I did a convoy up there. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was in Medderlom,
Oh, okay.
like in 11, 12.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was. Yeah,
he's been to-
I've been in Najil.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like,
It's-
what the fuck?
it's a fucking
I
experience,
got there,
man.
I'm like, oh shit. I think we spent the night there.
And like, so I flew in,
Jesus.
and like the day I got there, I had like 2 hours with my counterpart from the task force we were replacing to like learn everything about the base, which I didn't learn anything. So, but like, yeah, day to day, like I had a guard shift from like 10 to 1400, and then I was also the electronic warfare person for the base. So I handled all the Dukes and all the trucks and everything and all the Thors and whatnot.
Shit. How the hell did you know that?
I got sent down to Bagram and
you
did a
did.
course with
That's cool.
Task Force Paladin,
Nice.
which I was like the obvious choice because I was a comms
That's
guy.
cool. I was just like, I didn't know they.
I was a comms guy, so I knew
That
electronics,
was one
and I
of
was
the
already
things you could do.
Yeah.
You know?
It was an additional duty. Like
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
get like an ASI or anything out of it. It was
No, that's cool though.
This
but
is
they, like-
crazy. All for an E3, brand new to the army.
Yeah.
Fucking cop in the
Radios, man.
like coming home, like everyone in my section treated me like a fucking rock star, and it went to my head as a young E4.
Yeah.
It went to my head. Like I was talking back to E5s and E6s, like not giving a shit. I was like, "Fuck you!" Like you weren't on that fucking deployment.
Yeah.
And like by the guy that took over the section when we got home, this dude Sergeant Wood, he was an asshole, but he had been like a division level commo guy his entire career. And I was like, fuck you. You've never been in the fucking dirt doing this shit. Like, you've been flying around with 3-star generals. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
But he put me in my place real quick because he was an NCO and I wasn't.
Yeah,
So-
right.
Yeah. Is what it is.
But so like once a week we had ComSec changeover. So like 4 a.m. I'm out at the trucks, loading the radios, making sure that the TOC's ready, the Punisher Tower's ready, make sure in Lions and Rhodes, because they were my 2 RTOs. They were handling all the platoon radios. I had to go to the mortar pit, make sure the mortar pit was good. Yeah, so day to day, it was really no different than anyone else. If I had stuff to do, then I did it. And then there was days where like I had my guard shift, and then I didn't have fuck all to do. Like I just sat and watched movies in my room, chiefed cigarettes in my room because I had my own room and nobody could tell me I couldn't smoke in there.
Yeah.
Took naps, MWR.
Yeah.
So
Did
basically,
you, did you go out on a mission at all?
So when I first got there, I was dating this girl, and I had promised her that I wouldn't put myself in any more harm than I had to.
Yeah.
So I didn't go on any patrols. And then I went on leave, and me and her split while I was home on leave.
when was this?
I went on leave in May.
Okay.
So I was gone for most of May. But so we broke up. I came back. I got back on like June 1st or 2nd. Had an omelet from Sergeant Cancel that gave me the poops the entire day.
Where'd you get an omelet from?
He was making an omelet at the MKT for breakfast.
Oh, okay.
But it was like very runny. Like I picked it up and there was like
Yeah.
liquid egg running off of it. I was like, oh, I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat this. The next day I went on my first patrol. And we walked, which this was my favorite part. Like you guys were about to go hump through the mountains. They were like, all right, we're gonna be leaving from the Death Star. So get this good mile walk up to the Death Star to go get your heart going. I don't think before that I had ever actually walked up to the Death Star. I'd always gotten a ride. Because I'm a big important comms guy, it's time sensitive, so they would send me an escort. So I'm walking full kit up there for the first time ever to go then walk through the fucking mountains on this patrol.
Feel it right on my knees.
Yeah, in my back. The worst was like just the sun beating on my head with the helmet on, and I was like, how do these guys do this every fucking day?
It's like at a point you just get used to it. You're just like, nah.
Yeah. So like I only went on like a handful when it was needed. Like
Yeah.
the RTO was like sick or got hurt or something like that, so I would fill in. They didn't make me go on missions because that wasn't my job.
Yeah.
So it was a weird feeling. Like I knew that my job was important when I first got there, but like I was so young and so fresh to the army, like
Yeah.
it didn't feel like real life. Like it didn't. I was just like, oh, we're just here.
Yeah.
You can't really understand
And then
the
like
significance
until
of it.
you got hit, and then I was like, oh fuck. I was like, this.
Yeah.
I was like, what if he fucking dies? Like, I never even really talked to this dude. Like,
Yeah.
on a helicopter and I'll get evac'd. And
We literally
after that, I was
by,
like, yeah,
passing chow. And
exactly.
shit.
And I was like, and a couple days later, I'm helping Sergeant American like inventory all your personal belongings to send it out. And I was like, this dude's not coming back. I was like,
this close to dying.
yeah. And like, I just remember that whole day, like it was somber. Like
Shitty
there was a
experience, yeah.
weird vibe on the entire fucking COP. And I was just like, everybody was like normally people would be like smoking and joking. Everybody's just kind of like keeping to themselves.
Yeah.
And just, I was like, all right, this
It's the weirdest shit.
I was like, this
when,
is real
Somebody
now.
goes down and
Yeah.
because I did that for fucking Dennis. Like I went through his shit and
Yeah.
I'm like
Oh, shit.
packing all the shit up and I'm like, dude, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like at that point, I think we knew he was gone. But
You also had the
it was just weird.
most ridiculous amount of books for someone that's deployed.
I was gonna burn them all. Dude.
Yeah.
I was gonna take them home. I was gonna burn them all.
But we sent them all home. And it was like 2 tough boxes worth of books. And I was like, when the fuck does this dude have time to read all these books? I was like, he's always on mission or on guard. Like,
Did you read all the books?
Well, I think he had plans to, but life got in the way. And
The only thing I remember, I was so embarrassed. Like, normally I'm a pretty clean guy, but like I would just like beat off in my like little my little area, and I had like a box of napkins. I was like, no, they found my box of napkins.
I will say the perks of having your own room when it came to, I called it educational training, were unparalleled. For an E2 to show up with an infantry company and they're like, yeah, you have your own room. I was like, sick.
Yeah.
And I had like the dude before me had like drilled a hole through the door into the door frame and he had like an Allen key that he did to like lock it. So I was like, pfft. I would like put a closed for business sign, dim the lights,
Yeah,
get out the lube and the fucking baby wipes and go to town.
it's crazy how like
And that's a phenomenon in the military too.
I always thought it was like every time like before we go on a mission, I'd be like, this is the last one.
Last one, boys.
It could be the last one. What are you gonna do? Like,
I'm not going out there with a loaded gun.
dude, I think of that show, Generation Kill. And I think they did the best show ever, where it really reflects the game. Like,
Yeah.
like literally, like,
combat
all right,
jack.
It's like, oh, don't start the movie yet. I gotta go beat my meat and I'll be back. Like, all right, cool. It's just
Like how nonchalant we were about it,
Yeah.
like, and just like, hey, what do you got on your hard drive? You want to swap?
swapping forward,
I've got
back and forth.
hundreds.
dude, the Air Force dude we had like a network. We had like a giant network where you could pull everybody's things off of it, and you'd load stuff on there and be like, take some.
I've
off.
got hundreds and like
amazing.
I've got like folders labeled
folders.
like people's names. Like, I got these from Sergeant and I got these ones from Sergeant
Yeah.
and just hundreds and like the entire spectrum of
yeah.
pornography.
I
Like,
think I got to a
the
point
weirdest
where it
stuff.
was like I was like bored and I like organized it all. Like I think
I never
like,
did that.
think
I was a
did,
little
like,
busy.
Topics. I did like topics on it and like, oh man.
Did either of you have like a movie that you watched like repeatedly while you were there?
I was either reading or writing.
Okay. I had like one movie that like it's not even a good movie, but like whenever I was bored and like going through my hard drive trying to find a movie to watch or a TV show to watch, I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna watch this again. And it was What Happens in Vegas with Ashton Kutcher and Cameron Diaz. No idea
I
why.
don't think I've ever seen that.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's a dumb rom-com.
Yeah.
But I was just like, well,
Rom-coms like we're like the best
Yeah.
things to watch.
I
over
love
here,
rom-com.
so, like,
wow, who doesn't? You getting shot had a profound impact on the way I spent the rest of my year. Like, I was just like, all right, you need to be on your shit. Like, comms need to be fucking perfect. And then, of course, like a week later, we have a solar flare and nothing's working because I have decided to pick the one job in the military that outer space affects how it works, which you try and say, like, it's the sun is flaring up, which is affecting the troposphere, which is now affecting how my radio works. Try explaining that to a captain who doesn't understand radios.
Just give a fuck.
Doesn't give a fuck. He's like, we'll make it work. And I'm like, Roger, sir. It'll be up in 3 days when the solar flares stop.
So when you came back from like being over there, I mean, did you just like have a hard time?
I went fucking wild. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think
But it
that
was also,
everybody
like-
did it too.
it's just like you have so much like pent up
Yeah.
and like
And you think you're never gonna die,
and
you're
being
just like,
young, like you can't figure out a good outlet for it.
Yeah.
So like I was just drinking all the time. Like, I blew through my deployment money in like 4 weeks, I think, or something like that. And luckily, like I was still on terminal leave.
A little mic closer.
Yeah, I was still on terminal leave, so like I was still getting paychecks, but like everything I'd banked, like gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not like the closest with a lot of the dudes in the military. I have my friends that I talk to. Like I don't know if you remember, if you ever met Sousa. He was a fister. He was down with ACO at Zeahawk. But so like we were late arrivals to Moab. You guys mobed, I want to say like middle of November. Like me and him were still at AIT when you guys left for
Yeah,
Moab.
Mob the 09.
Yeah. And then we showed up together. We were late arrivals December 4th to Camp Atterbury. So I was only at Atterbury from the 4th to the 22nd when we got bussed home for Christmas. But like I talked to him pretty frequently. A couple other guys, a couple of my soldiers always. Miguel just messaged me because I like commented on his story last night. I said, "See you tomorrow," and he just responded, "He can't make it today."
Oh man, he would have.
I'm just gonna send a picture of
Yeah,
you
feel
to
free,
him
man,
and be like,
yeah. He would have loved.
I'm just
to
gonna
hear,
say
man.
I noticed.
I would have loved to have his input, like, because Miguel, I guess we got his perspective as well.
Yeah.
because he didn't really ever do patrols with us.
Yeah.
so I never like because he talked about like sleeping like to the comms and hearing all the fucking
Yeah, because he was in the
firefights.
FDC.
Yeah,
I have no service here.
that's weird. Sorry.
That's all right. But no, like you also by one day you missed the biggest party that base had ever seen. Miguel's on top of the Hescos playing the national anthem on his guitar.
Saw that.
I had 2 6-packs and near beers hooked to my belt. So I'm walking around. I'm standing. I don't know if you remember the roof. There was that one fighting position on the roof of the TOC that like looked over the LZ. I'm on that like it's the corner of a wrestling ring, just stone cold in beers. We got guys on top of MATVs on the LZ.
I love it.
We had dudes popping off like Red Star clusters.
It's on July 4th.
Yeah, the 4th of July.
Yeah.
We had bought a goat from the bazaar, and our cooks slaughtered it, and we had a roasting, so we had fresh goat, which don't recommend it. These things are some tough fucking meat.
Yeah.
You missed it by one day.
God damn
Weren't
it.
you supposed
Why
to-
do you have to get shot?
Weren't you supposed to go on leave? Like
That was my last mission before leave.
yeah.
That was my last patrol.
Well, you got your leave.
It's crazy like how it's a little sad how like we didn't know like how good we had it, dude.
I know.
Did you guys find I had
The rest of the battalion, like people that you talk to, are still in. They're like, "Oh, sorry, that's not Najil," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not Najil too. It was fucking awesome.
when I was
Ruined deployments for me for the rest
yeah.
of my army career."
Yeah, so coming back home, you like had a.
So like
kinda
I came back
COVID,
home.
or is it more of?
It was
You kind of self did it and
I
got back.
managed pretty okay. Like
Yeah.
I started going to the vet center after a few months.
Okay,
I was like,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
that's good.
I
Smart.
like that place.
And,
I really did like it.
Actually, the PL from the Scouts, now Major Raphael, he actually, I started going a little bit on my own, and then probably like 2012, I was on ADOS orders working with him, and he set up like group therapy sessions at the vet center. So I was with a bunch of dudes that were all over everywhere on our deployment. So not just Najil guys.
That's
but
cool.
It was like,
That's good.
so like hearing their stories, and it's like, I especially think like going to group stuff and like talking with other vets that dealt with the same shit that you
Yeah.
dealt with, like, is wildly beneficial.
Yep.
Because a lot of those dark times, you're like, nobody understands me. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody understands this. Then you talk to these guys, you're like, oh fuck, these guys all understand.
Yeah.
So like I've got my core group of guys that I talk to about shit,
good,
but like 12 years later, I didn't really have anything like traumatic happen to me.
Yeah.
Like I saw some fucked up shit. Like
Yeah, but that's the shit that
Like,
fuck you up.
we
too.
saw a
Like,
suicide bomber, so like I held a dude's head. Like
Oh, you were there getting the body parts.
I was, we went out, we did a BDA afterwards, but like never in my life at 21 years old did I think I was gonna be holding
Holding somebody's
somebody's head. Like
Yeah, trying
that's
to
not
get
something
the
you think
eyeballs.
of.
Yeah.
And then like I can't remember if it was before you got hit. Like we called in the Kiowas on that dude that was digging an IED up past the cell phone tower, and then we went out and got his body and brought it back.
Oh, I remember that. That's the one.
Miguel was talking about.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, like
the dead guy,
the arm
yeah, the
ripped
dead,
off.
yeah.
His
I
arm
don't think it
ripped off
ripped
his
off.
arm.
Like his arm like flopped weird and it punched Dazar in the dick.
I heard about that.
Castellucci was dragging it at one point and didn't realize that, like, you know, the little plots of land, how like sometimes there's like a 4-foot drop off of rock wall. He didn't realize there was a drop coming, and he was dragging this body, and he fell off, and the body landed on top of him.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, but like that was super early in the deployment, and like I was riding around. Remember Hernandez? He was an IRR guy from New York.
Oh yeah. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he was like the fob mayor when it was like the off week when they weren't patrolling, and he was bringing me up to the Death Star. He's like, I gotta stop by the ECP real quick. There's somebody's coming to pick up that body, and he's like, you want to see it? I was like, it was literally like I was in Boys in the Hood. He's like, you want to see a dead body?
Dude, isn't it weird how a dead body
And, like,
looks
this-
fake?
Yeah,
Like, it
and
doesn't feel-
Doesn't look
thing
real
had
at all.
taken a 30 mic to the side of the back of the head.
Yep, that's
it
true.
literally went to here.
Yeah.
And then it was just gone. And I was like, then he like showed me the arm where he got hit, and it was just held on by skin. And I'm like, this isn't real. Like I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's just like nonchalant about it. I was like, that is a dead human.
Yeah.
I was like, I've seen a dead human before, but like at a funeral, like this thing was murdered, murked, just
30 Mike.
anti-alived.
Goodbye.
And just unalived him real quick. And then I just had to go about my day. And like when you talk about like PTSD stuff and like nightmares, not sleeping, like that was the dude's face that I saw
Really?
in my
Shit,
dreams. Like it stuck with me. I haven't had that dream in probably 10 years, but like coming home at that age and like not dealing with shit that I was dealing with, and it comes up, but
Yeah.
I deal with it now. Like I did therapy for a long time and talked shit out, but going to the vet centers, and I hate going to the VA.
VA sucks. They billed me. They
The VA billed you?
They fucking billed me.
You're
I
like,
went to go to
motherfucker,
the
I
thing,
already
they-
paid for this in Afghanistan.
They fucking billed me, and then they took it out of my taxes.
What the
Because I was like, fuck, I'm not paying this shit.
Oh,
and then
they're
they,
the worst.
They took it out of my fucking taxes.
So I called
it
them.
was like $60, but I was just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. it's
I
like-
called them
Principle.
before going to Africa to tell them to pause my disability pay.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So I was like, and I wasn't checking my bank account. I was in E6 on deployment, and I live in New Haven County in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So like, I wasn't worried about money, so I rarely checked my bank account. They were paying me the entire time.
Oh shit.
I have a $7,100 debt.
Yeah.
They took my entire tax
They're
return.
just not gonna pay you your disability, right?
Yeah, they pay me it now, but like they prorate it, so like
Yeah.
they're taking a chunk out of it. They took my whole tax return, like, and I don't know if you ever filed the tax return on years you're deployed. You get paid
Yeah.
a ton of money because
you're-
your taxed income is like $17,000, or less. And
Why did that particular face bother you? The guy who got killed by the
you know, I have no idea. Like, I didn't go on the BDA to go pick up the body or anything. It was just the first one I ever saw that had been killed. It wasn't like going and seeing a body at a wake or anything. It was like, holy shit! Like we did this. Like we being the military, but like we did that. Like, and it's not an easy thing to like. You kind of, they say like, you know, military's not for everyone. It's like you kind of gotta, and you join and you don't realize like, oh shit, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But while there, like you can push it aside and not think about it, but it's just something that snuck back up, and I can't really put a reason on why. It just,
Okay.
remembering back, I think it might have been more like, from what I remember about the dude, like once we found out who he was and everything, he was like hooked on opium.
That's what it was.
Taliban
Yeah.
paid him to
$300
go
bucks.
do it
Yep.
and bury it, and like, so he might not have even hated us. Like he was just like, I need this money and I want these drugs.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go do this, and he paid the price for it. But like, am I ultimately sad that he's not on this planet? No, like one of us could have driven over that.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that we ever really drove anywhere, but
So you don't have a, and I this is just pure curiosity. I'm not trying to play psychologist, but like I don't know why I don't have PTSD. Like I don't.
Yeah.
And I wonder why some people like, like that, why that face would affect you the way it did.
So
Speculate at all?
no, I mean it's more like what I was saying. Like the dude was young. Like the day before that, he probably wasn't our enemy. Like I have no way to speculate on that, but like it's just one of those things. Like you can't explain why something sticks with you like that, or like why something pops up in your dream. But yeah, going back, I think it was just like it was the first dead body I'd ever seen. The circumstances of like finding out about him afterwards, like watching them like hold his eyes open so they could do the bats and hides on him.
I remember that night.
Yeah.
That was the same night where we were waiting for. It was supposed to be fast movers coming in, dropping in a bomb.
Yeah.
And they missed. They hit the wrong side of the mountain. I remember that.
Who was it that fell into the little culvert?
Oh, the culvert.
Like on the base. Like,
Oh,
you
when
remember
we
like,
attacked?
Yeah.
Lamro.
Lamro.
Yeah, that was one of his first
running,
nights.
running in the dark.
He
The
bent
March
his barrel.
1st attack.
Yeah, he bent his barrel.
So like that. So the March 1st attack happened. I'm still at Meadowlawn at this time. I get to Meadowlawn. I think I'm going to be at Meadowlawn the entire year.
Meadowlawn's nice too.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good.
The fun fact about
pretty good.
Meadowlawn and Najil is the 102nd built both of those bases.
Yeah.
Like,
That's pretty cool.
Najil just used to be the car wash, the little river crossing. That's all it used to be. Bico in 2006, 2007 set up a patrol base there and
Miguel
built the
was
whole
that.
fucking thing.
Yeah.
Miguel was there.
Yeah.
Which is so weird to me. Like you deploy to Afghanistan twice and you go to the same place.
That's
Sounds
wild.
awful.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
cool,
that's
though.
like-
you like know the area. Like,
Well, that's like there's rumors that like
you know how long it takes to like learn the area. Like you're like, oh, well, I know this place.
like there's rumors that the 102nd's gonna get put on a rotational deployment back to Africa. So like every like 4 or 5 years, and I'm like, I'm still gonna be in. I don't want to go back there and do this again.
4 years left. I'm out.
I got
I'm gonna take a break.
6, I think.
Okay.
But I've heard that you know how like you get a pay bump every 2 years.
Okay.
The pay bump from 20 to 22 is insane. Like the biggest pay bump you'll get. So I'm debating staying another 8 years.
Yeah, man. Whatever makes you happy.
And like I don't mind it. I'll be 39 at that point. So
Yeah.
when I hit 20, I'll be 39. So I'm still at Meadowlawn when the March 1st attack happens, and that's the day. And like I'm running to like trucks because they're like, you're rolling out with the scouts to go up there for QRF right now. So we were gonna convoy up there that night to help you guys, and we were gonna load up a ton of mortars because you guys ended up going black on like 60s and 81s or some shit like that.
The only thing I remember from that firefight was fucking Holloway jumped on a 50 cal, went black, jumped on another fucking 50 cal, went black. It was a pretty busy night.
Yeah, so I'm hearing all this, and I'm getting ready, and like we didn't end up going, but I'm in the talk, like hearing all this shit happen and all this stuff coming in, and I'm like, the next morning they're like, hey, pack your stuff. Tomorrow you're heading up to Najil. You're gonna be the comms guy, and I'm like, what? I'm like, did you hear all that shit last night?
Yeah.
I was like, you're gonna send me? I was like, I'm looking at my E5 Sergeant Phelan, who I'm like, you just promised my mother you wouldn't get me killed. Or like, my mother just asked you to look out for me or bring me home safe.
Yeah.
And I was like, and god damn it, you're going to get me killed. Like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm sitting outside, like, just chain smoking cigarettes. Just like, well.
So he's telling us that he was at Meadowlawn, right? Obviously, E2, and he hasn't been on Najil yet. And fucking, March 1st was one of our big attacks, too.
It was like a 6-sided complex attack. IDF, small arms, everything.
You weren't there for it?
No, I got there March 3rd.
Oh, jeez.
So I was originally gonna like roll out with the scouts as their comms guy.
Yeah.
So like we're getting ready to roll up there as QRF during the March 1st attack. So I'm in the talk, like hearing and looking at all this stuff.
It's a long way.
Yeah, it's like 30
And
miles.
it's like, it's shitty. to
30
get-
miles, and there's a lot of bombs.
It's like
Lots
3
of
hours,
bombs.
right? 3-hour drive?
I think more than that
Yeah.
with all the
'Cause
stops you're gonna have to make.
You get all the way to Alashang or
Yeah, it's Alashang. Alangar's on the right.
Alangar's on the right.
Alashang's
Yeah,
on
Alashang's
the
on
left.
the left. So the left. So Alashang, and you got to get to there first.
AKA IED Alley.
Yeah, and it's like we got I was telling you, we got like the Goldies like when we got there. So it's like these mine detectors that detect command wire.
Yep.
And we found probably 9 bombs in each kilometer. Like it was just we just went on mine hunts. And these HME bombs have been there for probably 5 years, 6 years. They're built into the roads that they built. It's crazy.
Do you know how many
crazy
Afghan civilians got killed by roadside bombs because we gave them money to pave the roads, and they're paving these roads and they roll over a bomb and all of a sudden they're dead. All the time it happens.
Dude, so many bombs. That's why it was amazing that we would get to Alashang or Alangar, and we would we would drive the trucks, but we would do a V in front of the trucks, like a patrol. So you'd walk the entire way. I think we walked 3/4 of the way to Najil.
Jesus Christ.
It was fucking insane.
That's fucking risking your life. That's
that
a
is
gamble
fucking far.
It was
That's a
awful.
gamble.
It was awful.
Even by helicopter, it was a 20-minute ride.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine walking.
And then we got there and literally turned around the next day.
Scrolling it on Google Earth, you got to do a few swipes.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a reason we always
bad.
fucking patrolled and never drove, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Well, that was Castellucci's.
There was 1 or 2 dudes in each of the trucks, but it would flush out the command wires.
Yeah.
So I think we only got blown up 3
Yeah,
times.
leave that for an EOD team, not an infantry company.
Yeah.
We had EOD with us the entire time.
okay.
The entire time because those roads are so bad.
But,
But we had EOD just constant.
But that should be the mission, the EOD mission to clear this route.
I feel like we didn't actually get we weren't route clearance, but we pretty much did route.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Patrols,
for something in that situation, the
They
mission
didn't give you
has to be-
Huskies or mine rollers. You just had to figure it out yourself.
We had those guys and the EOD guys with us, and it was just
if it's
we had
unsaid.
guys next to the roads and had those goldies, those command wire things, and we'd find it, and they'd be like, okay, call it up.
Fair enough.
And they're like, don't pull them, because at the time, they were attaching grenades to them, the command wire. But most I've probably cut, I don't know, probably 10 of them.
Yeah.
Just because what's the easiest way to stop this? Oh,
Yep.
if there's a grenade on it, whatever. I'll pull it too hard.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at Medarlam during the March 1st attack. I'm about to roll out with the scouts. Been in Afghanistan, or I've been at Medarlam all of 5 days. I'm well, we're getting into this, boys. We don't end up rolling. They end up handling their shit fine. Next morning, I roll into the S6 little commo shack that we had, and they're like, hey, you're off today. Go pack all your stuff. I'm like, I just finished unpacking in my room.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you're going to Najil tomorrow morning. I'm like, what? I'm like, the place from last night? I'm looking at my NCO, Sergeant Phelan, and I'm like, you just told my mother you were going to bring me home safe. I was like, you are going against your word, sir. You are going against your word. But yeah, so I got up there March 3rd, and probably March 6th or 7th, we got attacked again, and that's when I got my cab wicked fast.
Dude, I was trying to ask you earlier, when you were clearing my shit, all my books and stuff, sending it back home, I had one of those notepads, the black and white, the camo printing, whatever. Yep. And at one point, we got attacked so much, I was like, I think I want to start recording this. I would literally write the date and then write what happened. IED, indirect fire, fucking whatever. And then I noticed a pattern. I was like, every 3 or 4 days, we're getting fucking attacked. Did you see that at all?
Mm-hmm. It got worse. They shortened up. Ramadan was probably the quietest part. It eventually got to every other day, every 3 days.
Yeah, because the weather's warmer.
Yeah, and especially after Ramadan, they don't do shit during the day.
Yeah.
And then all night they're just fucking eating. And they're like, we're gonna give them a break for the month. But after Ramadan, just
it's
a barrage.
Up, yeah.
But yeah, fun part about my cab, someone fucked up somewhere. So on all my DD-214s, where it gives all your awards and everything, it says combat action badge and in parentheses, second award. They gave me it twice.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
So technically I can wear the one with the star, but I'm not going to do that.
I woke up and found a cab next to my bed. I was like, all right.
A cab?
Fine. Yeah.
Aren't you an infantryman?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, whatever.
The guy didn't know. He's like, oh, here's your cab, buddy.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit all over the place. I feel like before in past talks, unknowingly, like we would talk about you, and then we talk about the deployment, and then
Yeah,
we'd
we're
talk
all over
about,
the place.
We're all over the place, which is
All right.
fine. But I am really curious, which is now like kind of like switching the conversation.
Right.
So I never had PTSD, but we're doing the podcast because eventually it was like I didn't know.
I don't want you to know, but like you got some PTSD.
It's not PTSD. I don't.
It is.
I talked to my doctor.
We've
You
talked,
do.
I don't.
Listen,
You do.
we've talked about this before.
You've got a touch.
We've talked about this before, and the
If you don't have PTSD,
okay, hold on.
nobody has PTSD.
The PTSD thing, right? We've talked about this before. It's like it's a shitty blanket that they put on everything.
Yeah.
However, there's these giant levels of PTSD that like, okay, we have, I have, you have. However, like I know you don't want to be saying you have PTSD, but I've known you for
I don't
a
have
little
PTSD.
bit.
We've all got a touch
Dude,
of
you
it
got
somewhere.
shot in fucking Afghanistan off a mountain into a shitty
You have
thing.
to throw yourself off a mountain.
If you don't have PTSD to that, then you definitely have PTSD from Walter Reed.
Well, here's the thing. All right.
If you don't have PTSD from that, I'm saying you've got bullshit because you definitely do. Everyone,
Maybe.
we all do.
Maybe.
We've all got
And-
something.
And I've not called you out on this
I
before.
do. Trust me.
but
I
I'm
don't
gonna do it now.
I don't no hurt feelings at all, and I completely hear what you guys are saying. If this wasn't me, I would objectively like, bro, you got PTSD. Like whether like you actually whether actually you think you do or not, you have PTSD. I don't feel like I have PTSD.
You don't need to
no,
feel
like,
that.
I don't feel like I have it
myself.
either. But like, there are times. Like, do you ever like just get depressed for no reason?
No.
No, you don't have any fits of like. You just kind of like
anger.
You just like shot. You don't
have any angry
You
little
just shy away.
actions?
You
Not
just
fair, you know.
There's no times where you're just like, you know what? I don't really want to deal with people right now, and you just kind of like shy away for a few days and just keep to yourself.
No, not really, man.
Really? I do it all the time.
So I feel like
go to the bar.
100%
You ever
myself.
lash out? At
I go to the-
things like
God
you're
damn it.
supposed to be-
Goddamn Lapierre.
That's part of it, dude.
Well,
like you deal it with a different way. Like you deal it with like
So-
being angry. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about this.
So my deal is right, which is why I started this kind of like podcast, where it's like I notice where it's like when I get angry, I get like really fucking angry.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not that I don't like crowds. I specifically hate like shopping at BJ's because I feel like people are coming out of nowhere. Like I just want to fucking fight people. That's only at BJ's for whatever reason. For the most part, it doesn't really happen. You know what I mean? And
Because you thought it was a store like Staples, and they don't actually sell BJ's there. But Staples sells Staples.
stupid name.
So good.
And I blacked out a few times.
What's that sporting goods store? What's wrong?
Dicks.
hate that one too.
That's a great name. You can't forget
Definitely
Dicks.
hate it.
Yeah.
You can't forget the name. But I've also blacked
That
out
old
while
pie.
driving, and like maybe this is road rage. I've always had a bad temper. I don't
Yeah.
think I've had road rage. Like, so like the whole anger portion, is that really PTSD?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah, Terry, it's 100% PTSD. But the problem with that is, you went to Afghanistan, you got shot. You could have had that, even if you never did that. But there's no way to know.
Well,
so
here's
guess
the-
what?
so when I was talking to my
because you're
psychologist-
a wounded veteran,
Yeah.
you have PTSD, my friend,
I was talking to my psychologist, right? And
and you have a psychologist. You have PTSD.
well, no, because she's with the VA, and she was like, and she agreed with me. She doesn't think I have PTSD. She labeled it as like hyper arousal. Like I guess I'm a sensitive person,
Sounds
right?
erotic.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Hyper arousal.
Or
But,
it sounds like a weird term for like you come real fast.
That's never been my problem.
It's like too quick.
If anything, it's the opposite. It's like, oh, this poor girl. Like I need to get done. But
I got shit to do today, man.
But it's like so my upbringing, right? And this is why
Yeah.
I think I don't have PTSD. And I guess I'm gonna put my parents on blast a little bit. My parents were like, they're hardcore, like old school. They come from, Asia, where it's like
So you're first generation.
I'm first
born here.
generation,
Okay.
100% first generation. So
And
they try-
you're
Laotian.
Laotian.
And so they raised me as if like, I'm just a Laotian kid being raised in America. And then one day they realized, oh fuck, we're raising an American. They would say shit to me like, you know what I mean? Like, this is how we do things. Like, like you don't, you know what I mean?
And it's not an uncommon thing I've heard in like Asian households. Is like,
Yeah.
like parents that came here from their country they bring those values from that country and are trying to impart those values on their children, but their children are getting so much outside influence living in America.
Right.
Yeah.
You get like a weird mixture.
Right. So
Where you've got these core values where like Asian cultures are it's all hard work.
That's what he's
Like,
talking about. Like when
outside
you're
like
crying.
like the big
it's
cities
very
and,
And you're like, you can't cry.
Right.
Because
It's
your
like-
parents probably told you not to cry.
it's like
Well,
the
yeah,
1950s
that-
in America where it's like if you're a boy, like you don't cry.
Exactly.
You have to go to work, you have to provide for your family, you pay on dates, you drive, all that stuff. All these ideas of what it's supposed to be like to be a man in America.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
like it's like brought to another level in those Asian cultures.
Yeah,
The woman stays home and cares for the children and cooks the meals. The man goes to work,
Yeah,
does this.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
the man's not supposed to show any emotion
Yeah.
or anything like that. And that could be why you don't think you have PTSD and why you don't really have any flare-ups like that, because being brought up like that, like showing emotion was a sign of weakness, so you don't do it so much.
Yeah. So
Like for me, like growing up in America, like if I want to cry, I cried. Like if I wanted to show emotion, I showed emotion. Like the music I listened to was sad as fuck. I cry all the time.
So my therapist was like, well, she doesn't think I have PTSD either. She thinks it's more like my upbringing. It's like I'm more prone to the anger because my only issue is like the anger. Like I don't have reoccurring thoughts. I don't randomly just want to like. I'm naturally a loner, anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. I don't naturally just want to like be alone forever. I don't ever have like. I don't feel like unlike myself, but when I get angry, it's like next level angry. You know what I mean? When you go out on patrol and they're like, "Hey, listen, there's gonna be suicide bombers. Expect this. Well, you know, if we need to blow down a wall for exfil, we'll
Yeah.
do that." So like now my level of like where we take things to extreme is to a different level.
Yeah.
Which scares me
because your anger is you're trying to like go above what you like
Right.
think like anger.
and that's what she's saying. She
Yeah.
says in the military we learn to like overwhelm
like
by
angry's
force.
good.
So
like you know what I mean?
but what the military teaches us without realizing they teach us is compartmentalization.
yeah,
we are
Like one
able
of the
to-
most terrible things. to
Yes,
do.
we are able to. Something bad happens to us, but we're still on mission.
Yeah, you put that shit aside.
You
Your
put
buddy
that
died.
shit. You put that shit
Yeah,
aside.
You gotta
Yeah,
take
yeah.
care of the guy shooting at you first.
Guess what? You know what? Your buddy dies. Let out a few tears, but straight back to business.
Yeah,
Like,
and,
You
and
gotta
it
kill
works.
the-
And
Well,
it works.
it's like-
it
it's
works
like-
for that.
it's like 'cause number
But, like,
one-
it's when you get home.
Yeah.
and it's like, oh,
That-
And we're
shit.
talking about
and then you
Chanda,
don't
too.
have to compartmentalize anymore, and all these worlds come together, and you're just
or you're trying to,
Yeah.
and it's just like not working.
exactly.
Well, so my buddy who's also a gassy, my buddy Chanda, he was like, we also get rewarded for that.
Yeah.
When we're like, we fucking crush it. We respond to anger and violence, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what they want. And as an infantryman, you're a killer
That's-
out
yeah.
there. You know what I mean?
And like I always considered myself after serving with you guys, like, and a lot of the guys considered me as well. Like I was infantry by association.
Absolutely.
Like I don't have the MOS. I didn't get to get a CIB or anything like that. But like, I did a lot of the same shit that everybody else did.
Yeah.
Like I fired my weapon in combat. Like I went on patrols. I saw friends get hurt. I saw dead bodies. Like I saw all that shit. Like I remember one drill. Like I wasn't wearing my cab, and Pereira, Dr. Dirt himself, comes up to me. He's like, "Where's your fucking cab?" And I was like, I didn't want to wear it today. He's like, "If I ever see you without that cab again," he's like, "we're gonna have issues." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "There's people walking around here with CIBs that didn't fucking earn them." He's like, "You fucking earned that thing." He's like, "You wear it proudly. Don't ever let me see you without it again." So now I just have it sewn on all my uniforms, so
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
that's
forget
the
it.
easiest way to do.
But I don't remember where I was going with that.
Anyway, I think we did get to a point that like you said, like a lot of it's your family, which it probably is, but like obviously something had to be like.
well, the war itself exasperated it.
Yeah,
So
like
I don't think
it's
it's
like
PTSD.
okay,
Yeah.
It's
okay,
just,
okay.
I
can
gotta
agree-
put myself in another position.
I can agree with you
Make it
that you
worse.
don't have PTSD from the war.
Well,
However,
I'll agree to disagree.
however,
respectfully, yeah.
you know, it's like it definitely exacerbated whatever you did have.
So
No, that's
You know
her
what I mean?
point.
And,
It's
like-
trust me, I'm not trying to be like dodge and be like, oh, I don't want that PTSD label. No, not. I honestly just
Because
don't
I knew
feel that.
you before deployment. So
Yeah.
like even before deployment, I feel like you were
you guys go way back.
like
Yeah, like
you were like wound tight.
Yeah, that's what a friend actually described me. He goes,
like
you're not like a angry person, but you're like tightly wound than an average person.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, because I said I got raised in a household. Where like, so what I'm saying is,
maybe you should have your parents on the podcast.
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, my therapist was
Special
like,
guest Terry's parents.
it sounds like you. She goes, I don't think you have PTSD either. I think the war, your experiences, exacerbated that kind of like upbringing and your personality that pushes your anger further. And I wonder why. I don't feel like I have PTSD. I wonder why I don't. And part of me thinks is maybe because
I think a lot of it is because you're so like you think about things a lot. You write.
Yeah.
You think about.
You're
things,
a very
like,
intellectual person.
Yeah.
You,
So I think
like you said,
you chalk it up to like
when I asked if you had a movie that you
experiences.
watched on the deployment, and you're like, no, I was always reading or writing. Like you, I feel like because you couldn't show emotion, that's how you got stuff out. And that's how you've always done it. And you're able to put stuff on paper, and that's therapeutic for you.
yeah.
And you're able to do it that way. So, I mean, maybe you don't have full-blown PTSDs. I mean, I don't as well. Like, I know I have some form of it. I go into fits of depression where I don't want to be around people. I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
But, like, it's hard to say is that from shit from Afghanistan, or is that because I'm 33 years old and I'm not exactly happy with my life? Like,
Yeah.
like I don't have, I being 21 when I was in Afghanistan, I was like, if I ever come back here, I can't wait to I'm going to be married. I'm going to get that dependent pay. Here I am 12 years later, still single, no kids, nothing to show for it. It's like I'm not, I mean, I'm happy with my life. Like, I have a good life, but like things could be better.
I think a lot of it though, like, and not saying with you, but like even though you had that, like you got to be happy with yourself too.
Yeah.
Like, because even like, so I have a beautiful wife, beautiful kids,
Mazel
like
tov.
yeah, and it's awesome. But like, I feel like sometimes like I am like too depressed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like it's terrible to them. Like, I want to be like want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it just like at a certain
And like
point,
that's
sometimes
not
I'm just like
that's not uncommon. I've heard that a lot
Yeah.
from people. They're like, people are just like you get in your own head about things.
yeah.
And you start overthinking and dwelling on something, and it could have nothing to do with
My wife constantly
war, trauma, or
why are
anything
you
like
thinking
that.
about that?
Well, that is like one of my favorite lines. People are like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I fought a fucking war. That's what's wrong with me." Like that's just it's my all encompassing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm tired. Well, it's because I didn't sleep for a year, and probably a year after that, really, because that hyper vigilance doesn't just go away when
Yeah.
you get home.
No, I know.
And also, the girl I started dating when I got home was going to school in Boston. So when I'd be up there, I'd sleep at her place, and her apartment was right in the path of the Lifestar helicopter going to Tufts Medical Center. So when birds would come into Najil, they would fly right over my room. So like I'd be like that weird hour, like 5 a.m. This helicopter would come. And I'd be like, what do we got coming in today? I'm like, who's coming here? And she'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like,
Oh shit.
oh, I'm in Boston. I'm not at Najil.
I'm gonna restart that. I'm gonna take a piss real quick.
Do you mind if I hit this in here?
Dude, yeah. Yeah, what's up?
Send me back to Meadowlawn where I can relax.
Think about it. We're just fucking kids, man. We're like kids at war, dude.
And like that's part of the problem is like
But when we did get back though, like, and I felt like it too. Like I
felt
fucking
so
top
old.
of the fucking world.
I remember-
I was like, dude, I can go to this fucking bar. I can do whatever.
That's
the
where
fuck
everything
I
went
want.
wrong.
so
Everything went
That's
wrong.
where everything went wrong.
I enrolled in college when I got back, and I just remember sitting in classes like, who the fuck is this guy?
You
like talking like the
fucking
professor.
asshole.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, fuck him. I was like,
I think
and like he's just teaching the class. Like it was like anthropology or something like that. And I was like, fuck this dude.
did I
was
tell
like-
you about
I was
my-
like, what makes him so fucking special?
Did I tell you about going? So I went back to school, whatever, and I went to CCRI, and I think it was like a drawing class or something fucking stupid. Oh no! And they had us like with like Crayolas and like doing some like stupid thing, like with like cutting papers and stuff like that. And I was just like, what? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not fucking. I fucking ripped it up and fucking left. And I'm just like, and I never went back. And I was just like, fuck this. Like, this is fucking stupid. Like,
You became that guy. You were like, you know what I was doing last year? I was dropping bodies.
Yeah.
What is
like,
this bullshit?
Like, I was like, this is just like, what the fuck? I'm cutting paper right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is just.
This fucking elementary school.
Like, God
What the
damn it.
fuck?
Like, my kids do that now. And they're in fucking kindergarten. And I'm just like, I was like, out.
Oh,
And then,
that's
like,
amazing.
eventually I went back to school. But, like,
Oh, so yeah, shit. Real quick. So like a while back, I started asking about I think this is a little almost cliche to ask and say at this point, but it's like I feel a lot of guys turn to drugs, alcohol, and fall into depression because they have a lack of mission in life.
yeah.
Because when we're that young and like
I will 100% agree with you on that.
yeah. So for me, it was like I spent 9 years. In hindsight, I reflected on it. I realized I spent 9 years. I wasn't as smart as you. You sound like you went and found help right away. I just kept drinking my face off almost for 9 years.
Well,
right?
I was doing those two things concurrently.
Okay.
So like, I was doing the work on myself to try and figure out my feelings about everything. But also I was burying myself in a bottle all the time.
Yeah.
I got into like a really bad habit. Like I have a long drive to and from work. I had a bad habit of like on my way home, I'd pick up a 6-pack and crush a 6-pack in the hour drive home.
Yeah.
And then stop at the liquor store before getting all the way to my house and pick up a 12-pack or an 18-pack. And then I would drink 75% of that. And then I'd go to the bar for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And that would go like do I have am I an alcoholic? No. Do I drink alcoholically? Yes.
Yeah.
I go on binges. I'll go through a period like that I was just describing for a month or two. And then I'll go through a period where I don't have a drink during the week and I keep it strictly to Friday nights, Saturday nights. I don't even have drinks unless it's football season on Sundays. Like I won't do it.
Yeah.
But then there's days where it's like 7 days a week. As soon as I'm not at work, I'm drinking
Yeah.
consistently. And then I'm drinking until 1 o'clock in the morning, waking up for work, hungover, going to work, hungover. And like I just live in that perpetual hungover state until I can get that hair of the dog to get me right again.
But is that because like you feel like that was more of a choice versus like to me it was like you become an alcoholic was like is a monkey in your back you have to scratch. You
Yeah,
have
but
to drink.
it's also like instead of your mind or whatever go, you just like, hey, like I feel happier when I'm drinking. Like
Yeah.
it's just
So-
like, hey, like why not?
A weird way to describe it, I don't get it anymore, but like at the height of my drinking before I stopped, like at my first drink of the day, I would get like a tingle sensation, like goosebumps,
It's
like,
game on. It's
like
game on.
goosebumps down my back with the first sip. I don't get that anymore. Like I know that I don't have to drink. I like to drink. Don't get me wrong. It's one of my favorite pastimes. But I know I don't have to. I know that if things ever got to a point where I'm very aware of it now, so I know I can
Yeah.
put a stop to it for however long that I need to. But I used to literally like my first drink leaving work, like I would take a sip of a beer, ice cold beer, and I would get like a tingling sensation down my back. I'm like, oh yes, this is my happy time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen anymore. But to your point, like, yeah, a lot of people do turn to that because they're looking for something that's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Especially now with there's nothing going on. There's no conflicts. There's no real deployments.
You can't go back to war.
Yeah, we can't go back to war.
Trying to fill a void.
Like I made a joke like this captain that I'm friends with, he posted on his like Instagram story. It was just said like U.S. Army and it was a picture of his mountain badge. And I like sent one. I was like, and it's my cab, and I was like, mine's cooler. That's how I respond to him with. And he's like, yeah, but you don't have one of these either. And I was like, yeah, but you can't get one of these.
yeah.
I was like, I can go to mountain school. I was
Yeah.
like, you can't go get in a war right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck, you're right. And I was like, Well, sucks to suck, nerd.
Sucks, bro.
Shit, dude, we are all over this place with this podcast.
Dude, this has been fun though.
Dude,
no,
this
it
is-
is fun. That's what I'm saying. It's just chill.
We've
dude.
definitely gone like from like
Everywhere.
back and forth.
I think
and, like, stuff like that.
before we had like an SOP where we didn't know we were doing it. We were like, so initially we
I
planned.
told you we should do something.
All right, so
but,
I think what the SOP is we should talk about the person's background.
like we should have
Oh,
started.
we
with,
barely
like,
even. I mean, we did a little bit of my background, but,
But we should have started with like, hey, like, okay, you got out of basic training, you fucking went to Mob Shop, and then you did this.
Well, because
but that's what we
my
usually
thing
do,
is-
but it's just
I'm really interested in the person's psyche. So it's like, I think maybe we talk about the person's background, talk about their war experience, and then talk about their dealing with it. Because like
that should be like
Yeah.
the first like thing, and then
How
like,
they deal with
everything-
it?
No. I mean, like, yes, agreed that we should do that.
Okay.
and then like after that, that's when we get into like this, like because it turns into a roundtable, which is what we
which
want.
is fun.
It's great.
It's no. I'm telling you,
Just
I'm
like
not
drinking beers and
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, that's
We're just-
kind of what we thought.
Dude, it's
this
just
was
gonna be our
like
fun
if I
podcast.
came here and we weren't recording it, we'd be doing the same exact thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Anything you want to ask Zach?
No, I'm good. I think 3 hours is enough.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Kyle. It was
Yeah, appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Yeah, appreciate all the stuff. And
I'll have to come back again.
do we even
Another
figure
3 hours?
Did we finally figure out a fucking name for this fucking thing?
no.
Did
man,
you ever actually explain your tattoo?
You didn't.
No, I didn't.
Next one. Next one.
Next.
Until next time. Part 2.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for. All
right, bro.
Until next time.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.